Hey guys, we're gonna go into the third um, villain origin story. The whole series is called Four of a Kind. It's four annuals from the four Batman books that were running at a time. So we saw Shadow of the Bat, which had the annual, which had Poison Ivy. Then we went over to Detective Comics, which had the Riddler uh, origin, and now we have Batman, which has the origin of Scarecrow. As you can see, it's a very nice cover picture here. I really liked it. I can't say the rest about. I can't say the same about the rest of this comic, but I'm trying to keep it short. I made another video that was way too long. It went for like 20 minutes. This isn't the comic we should spend 20 minutes on. So it's not complicated. It's not deep. It kind of tries to be. It's not really. So we kind of start with Batman hopping around and getting the bat signal from Gordon, and he has a case. A dean and four of his regents are found dead. They literally died of being afraid. They had cardiac arrests, all of them, and um, Batman just asks details about it. Gordon kind of gives him. There's a straw that was left on the crime scene, and as it says on the center of the meeting table between five heart attacks. So that's definitely a clue. Batman takes it and goes to find what's happening. So we kind of go back 15 years ago. What I liked about this book is when like the Scarecrow's parts come up, we see a quote about fear. So I'm gonna read all of these because they're very good. Kind of puts the whole book to shame, to be honest. They're that good in comparison with the book. I also like how they fit with this part of Crane's life. Like each one of them deals with like the exact transformation that Scarecrow is going through at that moment. So we fear something before we hate it. A child who fears noises becomes a man who hates noise. So that kind of ties into this. So Scarecrow is this lanky and gangly type of a kid with a herky-jerky gait which never failed to draw derision and scorn. So it's supposed to be bullying, but these guys are like throwing stones, so definitely that goes way beyond bullying. So I would call that assault or battery. And this part, I was like, I feel like the writer wants me to remember this last panel, which says, "But however ill-coordinated I appeared, speed of necessity was mine." I was like, how is this gonna make any sense? But you're gonna see, it's kind of stupid. Um, so we see Batman going to the university where the guys were found dead. Um, he found that this guy Bramovitz was replaced by a graduate student and former pupil Jonathan Crane. I mean, the guard kind of comes in and Batman scares him, and Batman says, and Professor Crane himself lost his job, if not his life, just a week ago. We go back 10 years ago. Every Scarecrow has a secret ambition to terrorize. So there's this guy, and he has a girlfriend, and he's kind of a jock type, and she's kind of the pretty popular girl. So they make fun of him, and he gets angry and just scares a bunch of birds. And then he finds this book um, about Ichabod Crane, and previously he was called Ichabod. And I was like, I had no idea what the name means. I googled it. It's like some minor biblical character. And I was like, for some bullies, they have a very good understanding of the Bible, but it's not that. It's a character from a story with a headless horseman, and even so, those bullies were quite well read. To be honest, they're probably the most well read bullies I've ever seen. So the guy is pretty much like Jonathan Crane. He shares his last name. He likes books. He's a dancer, which also has a physique similar to his. So I don't know if this part's imagine like Crane's imagining it when. Oh no, he says, inspired, I made a race to a cornfield near my home where no one could see me amidst the tall stalks and where I spent dizzying hours in the imitation of my new hero. So, kind of sees himself, he kicks like the Scarecrow, his head falls off, and he also kind of learns um, martial arts technique, the crane, which is like the whole name thing goes like a bit too much, but he has a nemesis. He kind of this is the headless um, horseman. So Jonathan Crane is scared of him. Um, um, Jonathan Crane, Ichabod Crane is scared of him. Jonathan Crane sympathizes with him, and at the end, it's actually his nemesis, which just kind of dressed to make fun of him, and he's very mad about that because he's kind of looking up to this guy, and it's pretty much like fiction imitates life. And now Batman kind of gets scared of the Scarecrow, which was wired, and there's this tape recorder which was also wired. But the idea was that there was this fear toxin in it, and it kind of gives Batman sends him back in the memory lane, which we know what happened. His parents got killed. He doesn't want to see that. 6 years ago, you can discover what your enemy fears most by observing the means he used to frighten you. And this guy, Jonathan Crane, now kind of in high school, invites his crush, which is the ex-girlfriend of his bully, to a party, and it goes amazingly well, almost too well. And it was actually just a prank by his bully. He scares him, similar to how the Headless Horseman goes. He throws a pumpkin at him. Similarly to the Headless Horseman story, they make fun of him, and he's just mad and goes back to reading, and he goes to the Wizard of Oz, which also has a Scarecrow. That part kind of felt like shoehorn, like you get humiliated and you read the Wizard of Oz. And then he goes, seeing the difference between him and this Scarecrow version. He has the brain, so he just studies fear and everything about it. So he kind of throws some smokes bombs and some little things that explode. I'm not really sure. Cherry bombs, I think he called them. And he just scares them, the ever level crap out of them. So this part kind of got a little bit like too intense. So football stud Bo Griggs was paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of his life, while Sherry Squires, wedged halfway through the windshield, died before dawn. And I was like, that's way too intense. So he goes to college. For worldly success, we need virtues that make us loved and faults that make us feared. This is kind of where he finishes college, his college career. He makes a very good, he forms a very good relationship with his professor, but there's no openings for him at university to teach, so he just kills him using the fear gas. He makes him, the guy is deadly afraid of drowning, so he just makes the guy go and throw himself off. He becomes a new professor. We make trifles of terrors. So he's taking the psychology course, and he's only talking about fear. And the student kind of points it out, and I'm like, I don't know, he maybe should have picked like a more restricted area of study rather than general psychology. But he says that the very act of living is nothing but a conditional response to the fear of death, which was very deep. Like, there's a few lines in this book which are very deep. Anyway, he kind of wants to demonstrate there's like some fears, 3 types of fears in this world: fear of my own intentions, 2, fear of an object invested with almost supernatural power, the gun, and 3, the simple primal fear of an abrupt loud noise. And he basically kind of like almost shoots this girl, and they fire him obviously, and he's mad because he thought this was just like a simple experiment. When they do try to do this, the Scarecrow comes and fills the room with his fear gas. The quote here is, "There's nothing that fear does not make men believe." So this is how the guys we saw at the beginning of the story that Commissioner Gordon showed Batman. This is how they really died. Extreme Terror gives us back the gestures of our childhood. Again, like amazing quotes. The book, the story, the characterization, not that much. So this is another part I found kind of weird. So there's some chemical companies around, and this guy's Fontana's. It was the first. He had kind of a monopoly, but other companies popped up. He's kind of going down, and he only has $10,000 in cash flow to continue operations for like 3 months. And I'm like, that seems like a very low amount. Anyways, the Scarecrow comes in, proposes the guy he should just hire him, and he's gonna kill off his competition. The guy's like, dude, you're just like a weird guy dressed in a Halloween costume. But the Scarecrow doses him with a small dose. He gets hired. He kills one of the guys, but when he goes to go kill the second one, the Batman's there waiting and scares him. They have a little fight. Scarecrow obviously loses. And this is the part where, like, remember when I said, I feel like, at the beginning, I feel like the writer wants me to remember this? Apparently, it's the Scarecrow outruns Batman, which in a way makes sense because Batman's wearing armor and all of his equipment. But then again, Batman also then goes off the roof and he still has trouble catching up to him, which I felt was kind of too much. And then they have a little fight in that cornfield where Scarecrow was hiding. Batman wins. And he asks, who's your partner, Crane? Who are you working for, Scarecrow? It's Fontana, isn't it? And Scarecrow just kind of like, he's kind of like fainted almost, and says, scared him out of 10 grand, lots of books. And then Scarecrow gets sent to Arkham Asylum, where he's between, Batman hopes he's between like Two-Face and Joker, which this is kind of a way to say like, because these are the most important Batman villains. Like these three were in the first two movies of Christopher Nolan, and I guess he captured Two-Face and Joker before this story. We're gonna get there. One day we're gonna get up to Rebirth, I guess. So Arkham is shaping up as quite a place. It scares me. So I think I told you guys all of my issues and thoughts about this annual. I didn't really like it. It's miles under the other one we read by Chuck Dixon. Even the Poison Ivy one was better because it was shorter, and this one just kept on going. But anyways, guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. Leave comments with your opinion on this video, on this annual, on Batman or DC Comics in general, whatever you guys want me to cover in the future. Please subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow when we're gonna end this 4 of a kind series of annuals. Thanks for watching. Bye.